Torrential rains flood northern Philippines, prompting evacuations. A slow-moving storm, identified as Tropical Storm Yagi, locally known as Enteng, brought relentless rains to northern areas of the Philippines overnight, causing significant flooding and disruption across multiple provinces. The storm, which was moving northwestward at a pace of 10 km/h, brought winds of up to 75 km/h, with gusts reaching 90 km/h. Due to the severity of the situation, authorities in the capital region of Metro Manila took preemptive measures, suspending classes at all educational levels and halting most government operations. The Weather Bureau issued warnings for potential flash floods and landslides, particularly in the mountainous regions of Luzon, the country's most populous island. One fatality has been reported in Naga City, Camarines Sur province, where a resident was electrocuted amidst the flooding. The cause of death is under investigation to determine if it was directly related to the storm. Meanwhile, the coastal town of Vinzons in Camarines Norte was heavily battered as the storm passed over the area. Significant concerns were raised along the Marikina River's banks, located in the eastern part of Metro Manila. Local authorities activated evacuation warnings for thousands of residents in flood-prone areas, preparing them for possible river overflow. Similar evacuation efforts were necessary in northern Samar, where Coast Guard teams rescued 40 residents from 2 villages submerged under waist-high floodwaters. Transportation was severely impacted, with sea travel suspended in several ports, leaving approximately 2,400 ferry passengers and cargo workers stranded. Additionally, nearly 24 domestic flights were cancelled due to the adverse weather conditions. The rising water levels at Ipio Dam in Bulacan province, north of Manila, further exacerbated the situation, leading authorities to plan a controlled water release to mitigate the risk of downstream flooding. The Philippines, known for its vulnerability to natural disasters, faces around 20 typhoons and storms each year, making it one of the world's most disaster-prone nations. The memories of Typhoon Haiyan, one of the strongest tropical cyclones recorded, which claimed over 7,300 lives in 2013, are still fresh, underscoring the ongoing challenges the country faces with such weather events. North Korea's leader pushes for rural development amid economic struggles. In North Korea, leader Kim Jong-un has reinforced his focus on improving rural areas, amid ongoing concerns over the country's economic hardships and subpar living conditions. On Saturday, Kim convened a high-level meeting where he reiterated his commitment to accelerating rural development through the Regional Development 20x10 policy. This policy aims to modernize and build factories in at least 20 remote counties annually over the next decade. Given North Korea's reliance on agriculture, Kim has prioritized modernizing the farming sector and improving rural communities to combat the country's persistent food shortages. These shortages are compounded by international sanctions linked to the nation's nuclear and missile programs, as well as the frequent natural disasters that impact agricultural output. Kim emphasized the urgency of constructing health, science, and grain management facilities in rural areas, stressing that developing factories alone will not suffice to improve the material and cultural lives of the populace. He highlighted that his primary goal is to establish modern health facilities across cities and counties, which he views as essential to enhancing the health and security of local populations. The feasibility of these ambitious plans remains in question, however. Despite the mobilization of troops and the establishment of a new military unit to aid in construction efforts, South Korean officials and experts have expressed skepticism, citing the country's limited resources and its prioritization of military programs over economic development. Thailand's new cabinet to be formed soon. In Thailand, Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra announced on Monday that the selection process for the new cabinet has been completed. The proposed cabinet lineup is expected to be submitted for royal endorsement within the week. Shinawatra's caretaker government had previously indicated that the formation of the new administration would be finalized by mid-September. The creation of this new cabinet is a significant step in Thailand's political process, setting the stage for the government to tackle the country's ongoing economic and social challenges. Record profits for Japanese companies in Q2. Japanese companies saw a remarkable increase in pre-tax profits in the April-June quarter, with figures hitting a record high of 35.77 trillion yen, approximately $244 billion. This marks a 13.2% growth, continuing a positive trend for the sixth consecutive quarter. The surge in profits has been largely attributed to strong overseas sales, a favorable exchange rate due to a weaker yen, and an influx of foreign tourists. Capital spending by these companies also saw a significant rise, increasing by 7.4% compared to the same period last year. This reflects an overall improvement in corporate activity as Japan's economy continues to recover. Shinkansen bullet trains resume operations post-typhoon. After nearly 4 days of disruptions caused by Typhoon Shantan, the Shinkansen bullet trains between Tokyo and Hakata fully resumed operations on Monday. The Tokaido Shinkansen line, connecting Tokyo with Osaka, and the Sanyo Shinkansen line, which extends from Osaka to Hakata in western Japan, had been either fully or partially suspended due to the storm. The resumption of these services marks the end of significant travel disruptions across the affected areas. Former Taipei mayor released a mid-graft probe. In Taiwan, a court on Monday ordered the release of Ko Wen-ye, a former mayor of Taipei and leader of the Taiwan People's Party, TPP, who was arrested over the weekend in connection with a graft investigation. The case revolves around approvals given for a major property development during his tenure as mayor from 2014 to 2022. Ko, who finished third in January's presidential election, has denied any wrongdoing, expressing confusion over the reasons behind the raid on his home and the TPP offices. Following his release, Ko reiterated his innocence and suggested that the investigation lacks substantial evidence. The TPP, which Ko founded in 2019, is currently facing another scandal related to misreported campaign funds from the recent presidential campaign. Ko has temporarily stepped down as party chairman while the investigation is ongoing, and he has apologized to supporters for the mishandling of funds. Despite these challenges, Ko is widely expected to run for the presidency again in the 2028 election, though recent scandals have significantly impacted his and his party's public support.